Hello, everybody. It's me again. Yes, I'm back. I thought I'd come on and stitch a little bit live. I've started stitching the what I call meandering fly stitch because it's a fly stitch that's connected together and it moves across the fabric. And I just love the finish you get with it. And then I got this bright idea that I would use this as a way to quilt my layers together for this bag project. So that's what we've done. I pinned my backing on. You can see the backs of the safety pins. And I wanted to just show real quick what you get on the back. I should have done a different kind of knot or just did a loop stitch there, but it doesn't matter. It's going to be on the inside of the bag. So this is what the fly stitch looks like on the back side of the fabric. And like I said, it's on the inside of the bag. It's going to add some texture to the inside and it's going to hold all my layers together. So I'm not going to worry about it. So like I said, I'm starting toward my center line that I drew on my big piece. I created a center line. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Ann. And what I'm doing is I'm just picking a distance. Like right here, I just went kind of close and worked down to my line. And then here I came a little bit higher and worked down to the line. And so that's all I'm going to do. And work my way to getting this kind of put together. I'll try to stay in shot, but sometimes it doesn't work out. I'm going to go below this cluster right here. And I'm not worried about the knots. I have tied knots in my thread that's going to be inside the bag. I'm not worried about that. So you come up out the fabric for a fly stitch, and then you just come over sideways and go in, and then decide how deep you want your fly to actually be. Make sure you go through all the layers, and then just come out somewhere in between those two marks. And then when you pull it up, make sure your thread is around there. And there, you've created a fly stitch right there, which is hard for you guys to see. I'm going to move you just a little bit over here. That's a little better. And then I'm just going to come to the side at the same height as where I came out of the fabric. I'm going to come over this way about that same distance that I did over here. And I'm just going to go down through all of the layers and then kind of tilt my fabric, come up between those two marks and come out. And then you just pull it up. And now this time I'm going to lay my thread going the opposite way. So you just work your tail this way and that way, depending on which side you're going. Then this time I'm going to go this way and come over a ways. And if you make them irregular, don't try to make them, perfectly distanced. You'll get a more interesting effect. You just got to make sure you don't catch on some of your pins. And you can see I'm meandering down to my line here. You might have to lift it a little bit to get through all the layers. And that's what I mean by a meandering fly stitch. And when I get to my line I drew on my fabric, I just go to the back and tie a knot. And then I get another section of thread and I do the same thing over and over. So I thought I'd show you this. Hi, Angie. Good morning. How's your back? Mine was aching because I went back to bed. You can see I've got where I've pulled it too tight. Just loosen your thread up again. And you can get it to where it fits. And it makes V's. If you pull too tight, you'll end up where you've drawn up the bottom of it and it just ends up looking round instead of a V. Easy to fix. Just work your thread back loose and get each section, tightened back down. But I thought I'd come on and do this live for a little while. And you don't have to do this stitch. This is just, I think this is my very favorite stitch because it looks so cool. And I'm going to use variegated threads, so it'll be different colors up across. If you don't want to use variegated and you want the same kind of effect, you can just make each strand a different color. Entirely up to you. Or if you want yours to be matchy-matchy, use all the same color. All right, I'm almost to my line. I think I'm going to go ahead and just go down in right at the line. So it looks like there is this is coming up from a stem. And so there I've made a meandering fly stitch there. And I'm going to tie this one off. And I just kind of do a French knot at the back 3 times around, and then I just go into the fabric. But I don't go all the way through. I'm going to bury the tail inside the layer. So I only go to the batting level. So it's kind of going through the batting. And so now there's a little French knot there. And I can just pull it tight and snip it, and the tail is hidden. So now I'm going to come over here toward the edge so I can get one sewn down. Aw. Well, the worst thing you can do for a bad back is to lay down or sit too much. The best thing for your back is to get walking. I hate to tell you, but it really is, because it works the toxins that are creating the pain out of your back through circulation. So the worst thing you can do is take to your bed. Just saying. Not that you're doing that, but so I've got the camera in my way, so I can't see you guys. Let me move you guys over. I'll leave the camera where it is. There, now I can see you. I've done my morning chores around here, and I'm just waiting on laundry. And I said, well, if I go live, Greg's off getting his hair and beard trimmed up, and Scott's piddling about. He's planning to work in the bathroom this afternoon, I think. And he keeps copying off recipes for me. Slow cooker barbecued pulled pork.
Now you can read it.
Now I can read it. This is from Margot Lasky. And 8 to 10 hours plus refrigeration. So this is one we need to plan.
Well, it's mostly sitting in the slow cooker. So.
Well, they want you to put all your mix on and let it sit 2 hours to overnight so that all that flavor gets into the meat, and then you put it in the slow cooker.
I'm on board with that.
All right, so I have garlic powder, onion powder, hot or sweet smoked paprika. We have salt, black pepper, and then a 2.5 to 3. Nope, this says 3. This is a different recipe.
Same one.
No, it's not. It's a different recipe than the one you printed off earlier, because the one you printed off earlier had fish sauce and jalapeno peppers in it. This has dark soda like Dr. Pepper, root beer, cola, or birch beer. I'm telling you, the one you printed off earlier had a 12-ounce can of sliced jalapenos and fish sauce.
So you got fish sauce in it?
No, it's got root beer in it.
Well, I'll just have to find that. It's fine. Ollie, see, I slave.
Yeah, because that's a totally different recipe, but it sounds good too. It's just.
Well, I'll get the one with the fish sauce in it.
Well.
Slow cooker.
Are they calling it the same thing as what the problem is?
Different.
Oh.
It's a little tricky to trick it, fool it, so let me print it.
Can you open it in another tab? That's what I do.
I have to do Control P as soon as I refresh it.
Oh.
Before it goes to the paywall.
Oh.
Gotta be quick.
See, this is why you guys get all these different recipes. It's because of Scott and Greg. Mom, can you try this? Honey, can you try that? Yeah. I know it hurts, Angie, when your back is out. Believe me, I know. Rotate between ice and heat and try to get moving as soon as you can. And so, see, I'm going to have like this little, where is it? Can you see the little stitches? We'll go back and forth. And I am going to have the starter knots there, but again, I'm not real worried about that. But I'll keep going till I have my back covered, and then I have to do the other side. And yeah, I'm just doing a French knot and then hiding the tail in the layers to finish it off. Yeah, they're totally different recipes, but that's okay. They both sound interesting. Now, Greg makes one that's got, it's a beef roast that you do in a slow cooker, and he dumps a whole jar of jalapenos or banana peppers in with it, and some other things. So they love slow cooked meat. Can you tell? All right, I'm going to come over. I only got a little teeny piece of thread, but I'm going to try to use it. So I'll put a short one next to this. And I was going to try to just miss my patches, but now I'm thinking to get my layers together, I might just go over them with some of my lines of fly stitches that I'm building the sides with. I have so enjoyed this bag project, and I hope people that are kind of following along are enjoying it. I really would like us to get it finished on Monday morning, but you know, there's always the replay on these videos, so there's no hurry. You can always work at your own speed, but for myself, I need to have it finished on Monday because I need to work on my olive bear project that I'm doing with Dale at Erndale's. So I want to get that finished. I don't have anyone to give the bear to. She'll probably just go into my handmade menagerie with Jeff Rabbit and Paisley Pig, and then the little pudgy cat. Let's see, Becky, I have a question. Can you get different weights of yarn all being referred to as DK? I'm trying to look for patterns, but definitely seem to be getting different looks in the picture. The fly stitch is going to be my quilting. I just decided it yesterday. In fact, I came on and I said that's what I was going to do last night. But then I thought maybe I should come on and show the fly stitching. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can just, if you want to do the rest of your embroidery before you put it into layers, that's entirely up to you. See, I could have done all my fly stitching without my backing or lining fabric back here. And then I could have used my sewing machine to just run quilting lines across it. So this is just something I decided to do last night. Excuse me. I've got this because of Janet Nash. I got me one of those little kind of flattened out canning jars. It works perfect for this. And you can tell this was some thread I made the little girl's cotton set with that I have hanging in the other room. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I need to put the size on it. But I think what I'm going to do when this gets full is I'm going to create some little patches with this that I can either sew together later or save for a stitch project like this, that I could just add a patch of this, like Janet did a whole bag where she put the thread down with the netting over top. But I'm thinking of just doing it as patches to have on hand. You know, if I quilted them or sewed over it enough, it would be pretty dense. You could almost cut shapes out of it. And so each time I pull thread off, it depends on which end I knot, I get a different look. When you're doing quilting, you need your quilting lines or whatever. They say a fist apart. So you'd put a tie here, a tie here, a tie here, a tie at your wrist area, just to hold your layers together. Or you can go with the whole 2 inches apart. Just passing through. Hi, Helen. So, yep, this what I'm adding now will add a lot of dimension. Now I'm going to come up farther here, and I'm going to try to work my way to some of the stitching I already have. No, actually this one I'll go ahead and attach here, and then I'll start working around. So I guess we'll have to go shopping for boneless pork shoulder. The slow cooker recipe that Greg does is for a beef roast, and it turns out so tasty. He hasn't done it in a long time. Oh, I heard the stapler. There must have been success with finding the recipe he showed me this morning. Did you get it? Oh, he's snapping paper at me. Slow cooker jalapeno pulled pork. Yep, this is it. 2 tablespoons of grapeseed or vegetable oil, a 2.5 to 3 pound boneless pork shoulder cut into roughly 2-inch pieces, salt, a jar of pickled jalapeno slices, 2 tablespoons of fish sauce, and a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And you slow cook it until it basically pulls apart. Awesome sauce. It says in a Dutch oven. I don't have a Dutch oven.
Maybe we just use the pot.
Yeah. I think so too. Oh, Greg's back. Let's see the haircut. Whew. You feel better with your haircut?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that looks very good.
I look so handsome.
You do, but I'm not going to show them to you. Or show them to you. Show you to them because you're in your underwear.
Yep. I gotta get a shower, get the barber hair off.
Yeah. Hi, Kathy. So technically, this is probably not the way I should be quilting this together, but it's my piece and I'll do what I want. So that's how I feel about that. When you add your own ideas, it becomes yours. So unless you're following a class with a strict teacher, if that's not how you do it, that would never be me teaching a class. I always encourage everybody to put themselves into their piece. No, he doesn't get his hair cut in his undies. He just loses his pants as soon as he hits the side door of the house.
Well, I have to wash all this hair off.
We understand that. But Ann was just asking if you got your hair cut in your undies. Oh, God. Life with a grown son still at home. This is it. This is it, people. It is what it is. Whoops. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end at my line at the bottom, where the bottom of my bag will be. And I'm going to do a French knot at the back. And that'll be how I tie it off. Bury the tail in the layers and call it done. At least that one. But I'm just going to keep repeating this same thing. I might switch so I have some of this thread left for the other side of my bag and switch to a different thread. Maybe I'll use this thread. What are we sniffing?
Sauce. Here it is.
What is it? Is it fish sauce?
That's all right.
Yep, something hit the trash. I'll just stay over here and mind my own business.
Fish sauce.
Fish sauce. So we'll have to get a fresh bottle of fish sauce.
It was not refrigerated.
Oh, oops. Guess he didn't see that. Where's my grocery list? Now I've got to add fish sauce to the grocery list. I had it right here. Fish sauce. You like it going through the circle? That's why I just decided I'm just going to do my stitches right over all of the stuff I've already put down. It'll look like it's growing over top of it. The more I think about it, the cooler I think it'll be. All right. Oh, there's a piece of yarn found its way over here. That's why I say don't worry about, getting every prompt all over your piece, because you're going to add all of this embroidery to it. Now see this one, I could focus on taking all the way to the bottom, or you can actually go, oh, that's my tea kettle. Sorry, I forgot I put it over. Hang on. Okay. So you could take it all the way to your bottom line, the bottom of your bag, or you can just make your stem attached to one of the stems you've already done, so it looks like it has a branch. So like if you're moving towards something, do 2 in that direction, and then for interest, come back and add 1 in the opposite direction. And then go back the opposite again. That's how you get it to turn. I might do another one over this way. And in fact, you can, instead of making it level, drop down a little bit so it looks like a small branch. And I do recommend doing this on a surface. It's kind of hard. If you have a cutting mat, that's great. But if you don't, even your chopping board out of the kitchen, so you know when you've hit bottom through all your layers, if you lift, you can feel it go through, and that way you make sure you're getting all your layers sewn together. You see, I can just go that way one more time here, and then just put it down through a hole you've previously made on the other stem right next to it, and it looks like they're attached. Oh, and I've come unthreaded at the back. So I'll just pull that down. And you can see now that looks like it's a branch off this stem here. There's a stem right there. And then this looks like a branch. And you can just do that. And I'm going to just keep filling in areas until I have it all full all the way up to the top of my bag. And then I'll do the other side of the bag. So I can just sit here and stitch with you guys for a while. I'm going to thread this back on. It needs to be snipped even again so it's easier to thread. And if you run out of thread midway, you just come up wherever you ran out of thread and continue from there. And again, I'm just using French knots to end my rows at the back here. And they don't have to be perfect because nobody's going to see them. They're going to be inside the bag. You're just ending it. And now I have a little thread morsel for my jar. And I'll just add that to the jar. Okay. And I'm just going to keep going, but I'm going to switch to this thread now. And I already had some that I wrapped around this a couple times. That's already to a length. This is a nice long one, so I could start higher on the bag if I want to. I think I got this variegated. It's a JP Coats thread that comes in one of those multi-packs. You can get them like at Walmart or whatever. They add a lot of fun to a stitch project, if you ask me. I couldn't start my day without my coffee. I enjoy coffee. I know when I had to have some surgery, though, they tell you not to drink the coffee for a couple days. When Scott had his sinus surgery, he had the worst headache of his life because, don't be drinking coffee. You don't want a stimulant when they're trying to operate on you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and come up under this patch here, this grouping, work my way to the bottom again. And if you can't tell you're through, just lift your piece and you'll be able to tell you're through because the whole thing will be together. And the more you do of this, the more your piece becomes like one piece of fabric. So my plan is to just cover this in the fly stitches to put all my layers together. And then I'm hoping to add, I'm going to stay away from the edges, but I'm going to add beads and things to some of this. If you put like clear beads along the fly stitch, just every so often, stick a little bead on one of the little things sticking up. It looks like a air bubble. And that looks cool too. Or if you want to add buttons and charms and things, you could do that. When I sew those on, though, I'm going to try to only work to the depth of the batting, but that may have to change depending on how much of this I put in. I might not be able to lift, the layers too much. We'll see. I just go with whatever I can make work, really. I was watching Kate in the Nest. She's in Australia, and she makes these big, what she calls nests. They're fabric kind of bowls, but hers are more like a nest because there's no real structure. Now, see, I've pulled that too tight. If you go up and you pull the bottom of this one, that'll flatten it back down. So never get upset if you get it a little wonky. You just maneuver the threads a little bit and it'll go right back together. All right. But those variegated threads are a lot of fun and they're not very expensive to get, the big JP Coats package of them where you get multiple ones. I don't remember how many strands were in it. This is just going to be a zippered pouch, and because I'm not following these instructions from American Patchwork and Quilting, which their website is called allpeoplequilt.com. That's where this came from. This bag is definitely supposed to work up to be like 10 by 7, so a small makeup bag. I'm just going to utilize my whole piece of fabric and turn this into like a project bag because I made my piece of fabric so large and I don't want to waste any of it. I'm just going to turn this into a project bag, either a, handwork like knitting or stitching, and just have this where I could tote a project. Like if I went somewhere and I wanted to have a project at hand to keep me busy while waiting for something to happen. That's what I always do. I don't like to just sit and wait. I like to have something to do. So that's what this will be. As you get more stitches in here, you can probably start getting rid of some of the safety pins so you're not getting caught on them. That's where the sewing and basting your layers together with just a long running stitch comes in handy because you don't end up with, the pins in your way. And if you always pull away toward the bottom of the V, you won't end up like I had just a second ago, where I had to rework the bottom of the V because I pulled the wrong way. So if you pull toward the bottom of the stitch, they always point in that direction and you don't have any rounded off. All right, we're going to flip to the back, and oh, you can see where the back pieces are. And I'll just put that through the layers a little bit. The batting will grab your needle occasionally. And that's a little French knot, and the tail for it's inside the fabric. And then I just clip close to the fabric. And voila, it's done. I've been making knots for a long time. When I tie a knot, I just wrap it around my finger and roll it and then pull down. And I'm gonna have knots with tails at the back. I could probably snip my tails shorter, but I'm not gonna worry about that. All right, I'm gonna come up higher over here this time. And each little ways, I'll work a little bit farther up on the side of the bag and either take them all the way to the bottom or connect them to something that's already been put along the bottom. So these look like they've branched off. And you decide the width of your fly. So however far you go over, that's how wide your fly stitch will be. If you want big old fat flies, you can make them. It's just, the stitch won't probably hold as well. It'll be more easy for the thread to move and you end up with rounded V's. I do about 1/4 of an inch side to side. And I'm just going back and forth on this one because I'm not going to connect it to anything. But again, if you want to start working your way across, you do 2 in that direction and then do 1 back the other way. And then you can do 1 and then 1 back and then do 2 again. And you can work your way across. So it looks like the thing is grown up and then curved like that. That's why I love this stitch, because you can make it just look so cool. And like, again, pull toward the bottom of the V and it'll stay a V shape. If you try to pull towards you, it's going to pull it up out of the fabric and you end up with rounded bottoms. Nobody wants a round bottom. Oh, bye, Angie. But this is one of those that I usually will, I'm going to go this way again. You know, put something on the video that isn't going to interest me totally so that I can just do this work just mindlessly. If I try to watch somebody doing something when I'm doing slow stitching, I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but if I try to watch somebody that's doing something interesting, making something, then I get so focused on them, I make mistakes. So I put something on I've already watched. Like I've watched all of Midsummer Murders. So that's why Scott will come through and say, oh, someone's got murdered again. I said, well, I'm working on something mindless and I just need, it's like it's just company for me. Let's see, I'll go this way. Whichever way you point your tail of thread with, that's kind of the easiest way to go with your stitch. You can see how I'm moving the tail back and forth, I hope. I hope I can get to the bottom with this. If not, I'll start another thread and go from there. See, I messed that up. So if you just pull the bottom of this V a little bit, and then pull this one a little bit, You can coax the thread back into shape is what I'm trying to tell you. All right, I gotta get this over here where I can control this a little bit more. All right. All right, let's see, am I close enough that I could make this the stem of it? Yes. So I'll just go down about where the bottom is here. And hope I'm not going to pull this out of the needle. There we go. And then I'll flip it to the back and we'll tie a knot again. I'm really close here. Oh, you're doing the Jerry's dots? I wanted to join in on that, but then I did Dale's Bear and I got a little sidetracked. But I figure I can always go back and, you know, do Jerry's dot project. I can do that later. That's the beauty of our replayable videos. You can join in later. And there we go. We got another little French knot there. We'll snip this and add that to our little pile of threads. And there you go. And I do like how it looks going across my patches. So I'll just keep working on this and go a little bit farther each time and then maybe connect it to this one or start up higher and work my way down and connect to this one or go all the way to the bottom. It's entirely up to you. And then the back is looking like this. You can see where I've meandered down there. And I'm just going to keep going until I get this side covered. And then I'll start on the other side and do exactly the same thing. And then I can come back in here and maybe put some beads in this square, or maybe I'll just put beads here and there on the fly stitches. So it looks like there's water bubbles all over it. And then you could add other things to it. You could add charms to some of your collage or clusters on here. And sewing on her bag. And yes, Janet Nash did a video on, she was doing her fabric. She said she didn't want to do another bag. She said, because we've already done this, I think twice, which is fine. And that's what I said when we did the prompt game last Monday is if you don't want to make a bag, this could be a fabric journal cover or even a regular journal cover if you wanted to make a journal cover with it and just have a very interesting fabric cover to it. Entirely up to you. Again, your project, you do you. All right, I'm going to come way up here and work my way down to some of that other. And I'm not even going to care if I connect this thread to the original thread combination. I think it'll just be more interesting. But again, if you're like at Walmart sometime, just pick up one of those variegated threads and you'll find that it's a lot of fun to stitch with because you get a color change without having to sew in or tie knots to change color. It just does it on its own. I love that. I think that's why I'm enjoying that yarn that's making the flowers in that cowl as I go along. I tidied up behind me because it was getting, I was using my sewing machine and serger table as a drop zone. And I said, well, I need to clean that up because I need to be able to use the sewing machine because I need to do my new look project where I pulled the pattern and I've got to choose what to do. And it's a sewing knits. And I really, you guys, I really struggle with sewing knits. I really do. I'm a more of a structured fabric gal, and everybody tells me how easy knits are, but I just make a total mess of them. I really and truly do. So for you guys that say knits are a joy and so easy and you don't understand woven, I'm on the opposite side of that coin. I would rather sew with woven fabrics any day of the week. Not sure what happened there, but I've pulled somehow on my running stitch below. But we're going to call that added texture and just keep going. I am not going to get hung up on it. If anything, I can come back and add a button or a bead or a charm right there and it'll be buried. And nobody will ever know. I want to go through my charms and see what I've got in the line of themes. Like, I want to see if I've got some that are like crochet or knitting theme, or maybe sewing theme. Could just be a sewing theme and add some charms to this. We could even do one of the larger charms to clip to our zipper pulls. Do you remember the years ago when we were all making those big old chunky charm loaded up things you could clip onto a bag? I've got some hanging behind me that I got in swaps and stuff. I just put them back there because they're pretty. And they look cool hanging from my thread display. Let's see, Kathy says, you're on the woven side with, knits just blow my mind. Of course, I could add floral charms because I used flowers, and you could, if you had some kitty cat charms, you could add them because you put kitty cats on your bag. I was checking because you guys, I showed you those quilt tops that I have in my UFO box here at the end of the table. So we were in Joann's the other day, and I told Scott, I said, I just want to price the batting. And for even just like a twin size, it's like $30 to $40. But of course, if it's on 40% off, I think I'll just wait for a sale. It was on sale the time we were in there, but I just didn't want to have something else in my way. I want to get it when I'm ready to put a quilt together. I need to finish some quilts because that would be nice to have some quilts to, display around the house or have ready to gift to people. Oh, I was going to show you those chunky charms real quick. Let me get a couple of them. Some of these I made, and then some were gifted to me. I think I made, I don't know, but this one's one. And you can clip these onto your zipper pull. And this one's got cats and different things on it. And this says wild wish dust is in there. So I don't know if I made this one or not. It's been years. And then this is another one that somebody made. But you use like a section of chain, and then you attach charms and groups of beads and that kind of thing. Do y'all remember these? That one's got a bird on it. So these are fun to make and to swap. So yeah, dangles. Yes. Yes. Batting is wadding. Oh, no. Let me get this other one here. This one shows something else we used to do. And I know I made this one because I remember making it. But you take the domino and you put eye pin down across it, and then you put a paper picture and then seal it up with glossy accents. So you glue everything down and then cover it in glossy accents and let it dry. And then you've made a domino charm. Those are fun to make. And then I did beaded sections and with just a charm I had attached. And then that's got a little flower charm. So if you just take eye pins and stack beads up on them, that way you can make a little pull for your bag that's easy to get a hold of. So yeah, we could visit the past and do some of these projects to decorate our own bags. If you guys want to. It is a lot of fun to make them. I'm probably not going to keep you guys much longer, but I wanted to show what I'm doing. See, that one's pulled it up so it looks funny. So just pull that one back. There we go. The thread is a lot more forgiving than you'd think. So if it looks like it's gone awry, just take your needle and work with it gently, and you'll find that the thread will just lay back in the line you want it to go. You just got to learn how to maneuver it. I'll finish this one and then I think I'll sign off. You guys are kind of seeing what I'm doing, and then I'll put something mindless on, and I'm probably going to need to make some lunch here before we know it. This morning we had leftover homemade bread and chicken salad sandwiches and potato chips because I didn't feel like cooking breakfast this morning. Oh, being pretty lazy. But the chicken salad sandwich was tasty. And now I'm caught in there. There we go. It won't be long and I'll be able to remove some of these safety pins and they'll be out of my way. I just want to keep them in there for a little longer. I just like the texture of how these pieces feel. Once you get all these stitches on there, I just think it feels really cool. I stabbed myself in the finger, so now might add some DNA to it, as Mary says.
Which Mary? My Mary?
No,
The other
not
Mary.
Mary. Mary online. There's a lot of Marys out there. For a while, that was the name to name. Marry this, marry that.
Mary, Mary, Mary. Everybody Mary.
That's why your grandma's name is Mary. And her mom was Mary. My grandma was a Mary, and my mom was a Mary. Grandma was Mariella, and mom was Mary Elizabeth.
You know one name you really don't hear anymore?
What's that?
Abigail.
Abigail?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like old-timey names.
And then there's Henry or Henderson. You don't hear that very much anymore.
Not too often. All right. I'm at the bottom of my bag. I'm going to flip it. Oh, yeah, I know. Scott's going to work on tile this afternoon. And I might do an online grocery order and just have it delivered. That way we don't have to go out. We can actually get some things done around here. All right, another French knot to knot it off on the inside where nobody's going to see it. All right, guys. So that's what I'm doing for my quilting. And by the time I get all of this together, this will be like one piece of fabric. All right, so happy stitching, and I will see you guys in the next video, which will probably be a bathroom update. We'll see. All right, bye guys. Have a great day. Enjoy your Saturday. Good luck with the door. Bye, Helen.